Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Theravada Buddhism series, Dhamma talk number 22. Beautiful mental factors. Sobhana Cetasika, part 6. We are discussing about 25 beautiful mental factors. Those 25s are divided into 4 subgroups. And the last and the fourth and the last subgroup has only one beautiful mental factor. So it is the 25th beautiful mental factor, and it is called the faculty of wisdom. The faculty of wisdom. In Pali, Pinyindriya. P-A-N-N-I-N-D-R-I-Y-A. Pinyindriya. To fully understand the meaning of this word, we need to understand another word called Pinya, P-A-N-N-A, Pinya. And this word Pinya is a combination of 2 words. Pa, P-A, means rightly or correctly. And another one is Nya, N-A. It means to know. So Pinya, it means knowing rightly or knowing correctly. That's what Pinya means literally. Knowing rightly, knowing correctly. Pinya. And this word Pinya is used quite literally in several places. It conveys different kinds of knowing correctly. Different kinds based on the situations and condition. In general, to give an example, a yogi understands Dhamma by listening, by reading, by discussing, analyzing, reflecting, using reason and logic. Yogi understands through that way. That kind of understanding or pinya, that's also called pinya, but to be precisely correct in terms of English, we'll use the word knowledge. Anything you gain from listening and reading and so on is knowledge. Pinya. More correctly, it's called Sutta Pinya. Sutta means listening and reading. That is knowledge. However, understanding, pinya, from the direct experience by practicing vipassana is called wisdom. So, if one understands something through practicing vipassana meditation and experience directly, that kind of understanding is called wisdom. Again, pinya. So you have to know the meaning of pinya in context, where it is used and what the situation is. And we call it wisdom from Buddhist perspective. Okay, these are definitions trying to explain from the Buddhist point of view. And pinya never associate with unwholesome consciousness, akusala ceta, or rootless consciousness, ahetuka ceta. If it is the true wisdom, they never associate it with unwholesome or rootless consciousness. So we understand pinya. What pinya means, and you have to understand what it conveys based on the condition it's arising in. Okay, let's go back a little farther to our talk, and when we are talking about these beautiful mental factors. We had discussed alobha, non-greed, and adosa, non-anger mental factors already. Alobha, adosa, non-greed, non-anger mental factors. These are the two of the three good roots or unwholesomeness. Good roots, wholesomeness. So there are altogether 6 roots where wholesome and unwholesome condition can arise. Wholesome condition arises from non-greed, non-anger, non-delusion. Unwholesome condition arises from the roots of greed, anger, and delusion. Those are the sources. And in here we have already discussed is the wholesome side, non-greed and non-anger. But we haven't discussed the third one, non-delusion. Because in this beautiful mental factors, it is mentioned as pinyendriya. Pinyendriya, the last beautiful mental factor we are discussing. So amoha is discussed under the word pinyendriya. Pinyendriya means pinya plus Indriya. Panya is wisdom, Indriya is controlling faculty. Controlling faculty, the wisdom, Panyendriya. The same as amoha. So amoha, non-delusion, Panyendriya, faculty of wisdom. Another word, jnana, insight. And another word, vimansa, predominance, wisdom. Okay, these words, 4 different words. Non-delusion, faculty of wisdom, insight, predominance, wisdom. They have the same essence. They convey the same essence and are used under different settings in the scriptures. Let's see a little bit on each word. The word jnana is commonly found in association with the vipassana insight levels. Insight 1, 2, 3, 4. This insight, that insights, rising and passing, or the solution. And whenever these insights are mentioned, it's used with the word jnana. And also path wisdom and fruition wisdom is also used as jnana, megha jnana, path wisdom, phala jnana, fruition wisdom. So that's where jnana is used with high frequency. And amoha, non-delusion. Non-delusion is used when we explain, especially when we explain the 6 roots. 6 roots, which are greed, anger, and delusion, or non-greed, non-anger, and non-delusion. 6 roots that feed unwholesome and wholesome states, akusala and kusala states. So that word is more often used under that context, non-delusion or delusion. And vimansa. If you remember the talk on 4 predominance, Etipada, Chanda, wish, viriya, effort, ceta, mind, and vimansa, wisdom. Those are the 4 predominants, if you recall. And vimansa, or the wisdom, and under that condition, all other mental factors that associate with it bend to its leadership. It takes a total leadership role. It controls completely upon all others. And of course, Panyendriya, the heading of this beautiful mental factor, or the title, or the word that conveys 25th beautiful mental factor. Pinyendriya, is used as one of the 5 controlling faculties, which we have been practicing from day 1. 5 controlling mental faculties. Saddha, faith and confidence. Viriya, effort. Sati, mindfulness. Samadhi, concentration. And Panya, wisdom. Those 5 are called 5 controlling faculties. Pincha, 5. Indriya, controlling faculties. So Pinyendriya means the faculty of, the controlling faculty of wisdom. So that is where it used. Pinyendriya is used. This exercise as controlling faculty over the associated mental factors and comprehending, understanding the true nature of the objects. When you comprehend the true nature of the object, when you understand the true nature of the object, this faculty as the playing as a faculty, this pinya. That is why this is translated as faculty of wisdom or controlling faculty of wisdom. Pinyendriya. So there are 4 different words most often used for wisdom, pinya. They have a specific, distinct conveyance to the meaning. So let's go deeply or a deeper, more penetratively into this 25th beautiful mental factor called Pinyendriya. First of all, Pinyendriya as a beautiful mental factor, Sobhana Cetasika. This faculty of wisdom as a mental factor is about knowing specifically the true nature of things, or you can say specifically knowing the physical and mental objects as they really are in a mental state through vipassana meditation. This is not here or there. This is not in the book. This is not in the words. This is arising as a mental state in a yogi's mind. Knowing the true nature of physical object or mental object. Mental knowing. When you are practicing vipassana meditation, very specific and precise. Without mindfulness and concentration, this beautiful mental factor cannot arise. So it's a requirement is mindfulness and concentration. But you can also express what it is in a general way. It's about knowing the Four Noble Truths experientially, not from reading or listening. And finally, you can express as knowing or realizing Nibbana, Nirvana. That is Piññendriya as a beautiful mental factor. It is a mental state. It arises in the yogi's mind while one is practicing vipassana meditation. So let's call it the word Piññendriya, one word, wisdom. You know, when I say wisdom, you know what I mean. The characteristic of wisdom is penetrating or understanding things according to their true nature. Understanding things according to their true nature. Penetrating things into their true nature is the characteristics of wisdom. That's how you know you have wisdom or you don't have wisdom. Have I penetrated and understood this object as it really is? Okay, let's take a little explanation there. Okay, there's a simple statement is light dispel darkness. In a very dark room, you bring in a light or a lamp. The darkness gone, the lights come in. And also we know wisdom dispel ignorance. Ignorance is not knowing. Wisdom is understanding. When you understand something, ignorance is gone. So wisdom is compared to light. And delusion, moha, or ignorance, avijja, is compared to darkness. Light is wisdom, darkness is ignorance and delusion. So, you can say the function of wisdom, the job of the wisdom is illuminating of the nature of the objects of observation, like a lamp. The function of wisdom is illuminating the nature of the object of observation, like a lamp. It dispels the darkness, it dispels ignorance and delusion. With moha, delusion, a yogi cannot see objects or things as they truly are, as they really are. However, when wisdom arises, delusion and ignorance are totally erased and wiped out. That's a function. And its manifestation. Wisdom manifests as a non-bewilderment. Let's say when one is sure about an object or a situation or a condition, there's no more bewilderment, no more confusion. When one becomes very sure about an object or a thing, bewilderment is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. So it manifests as non-bewilderment. The proximate cause is the wise attention. Yoniso Manasikara. Its ability to know the suitability, appropriateness in terms of time, place, and person. That's Yoniso Manasikara. So, this would be fairly sufficient to understand what Pinyendriya, the 25th beautiful mental factor, or wisdom. This brings to the end of the all 25 beautiful mental factors. And at the same time, we have completed all the 52 mental factors, Cetasika, which are the coloring products of consciousness. Let's have a little recap on it. The first group of beautiful mental factor is called common to another. And it has 13 mental factors and divided into 2 subgroups. The first subgroup has 7, and it is called universal. It is called universal because it arises with every consciousness. Whenever a consciousness arises, these 7 are there. That's why it's called universal. And they are called named, let's call it name, mental contact, feeling, perception, volition, one-pointedness, life faculty, and attention. Those are the 7. Those 7, one should be acutely aware and know about it like the back of your hand, because they are with you at every moment, arising, arising, arising. Because they arise with every type of consciousness. So the remaining 6 mental factors are called particulars. It arises with 55 type of consciousness. All these 13 are neutral in nature, but they become wholesome or unwholesome based on with whom they associated with what kind of consciousness they associated with. It becomes wholesome or unwholesome. That's the first group. Common to another, they are neutral. That's a key point. The second group consists of 14 mental factors, and they are all unwholesome, akusala. These 14 are divided into 5 subgroups. The first subgroup has 4 mental factors, and it arises with every unwholesome consciousness. Arises with every unwholesome consciousness. And they are delusion, shamelessness, and moral shamelessness, and moral fearlessness, and restlessness. Those 4 arises with every unwholesome consciousness. Delusion, moral shamelessness, moral fearlessness, and restlessness. The second subgroup has three mental factors. They arises with greed-rooted consciousness. And they are lobha, greed, ditthi, wrong view, mana, conceit. That's the second group, second subgroup. And the third subgroup has four mental factors. Arises with anger-rooted consciousness. And they are dosa, aversion, michariya, miserliness, and kukucha, not wanting to share. And the fourth subgroup has two mental factors and is the sickness-based group. It's called tina middha, sloth and torpor. And the fifth subgroup has a single mental factor, vicikiccha, spiritual doubt, associated with one of the delusion-rooted consciousness. So that's the second group. Second groups are all unwholesome. And the third and the last group is called beautiful mental factors. There are 25 of them, divided into four subgroups. The first subgroup has 19 universal, beautiful mental factors. They call universal because they arises with every beautiful consciousness. Okay? You can try and figure out what their names are, 19 of them. You start with Satasari, Hiri, Udapa, Alobha, Adosa, and so on. But if you write it down yourself, you remember even better. The second subgroup has three mental factors, and the heading is called virati, abstinence. They are speech, action, and livelihood. The third subgroup has two mental factors called appamanya, limitless. And they are karuna, compassion, and mudita, appreciative joy. And the fourth and the last subgroup is just single mental factor, pinyindriya, wisdom. If you add 13 plus 14 plus 25, 52. Those are the 52 mental factors, Cetasika, which variably associated with different kinds of consciousness. When we study types of consciousness, you will come and understand the role they play. So with that, we concluded the discussion on 52 mental factors, Cetasika. these mental factors arises together with the consciousness, citta. They disappear together with the consciousness, citta. And they take the same object. Okay? It is not that consciousness take object A and mental factor takes object B. They take the same same object. That's a commonality between consciousness and mental factors. So by understanding these things more specifically, when you are practicing meditation, you know what you are experiencing. And also, even though you are not in an intense, serious practice, in a daily activities, general awareness, you know what your strengths are and you know what your weaknesses are. And the weakness, by knowing your weakness in terms of character, function, manifestation, and the cause, especially the proximate cause, you can walk on it so that you can improve. Proximate cause, it's the immediate cause where this mental factor arises. Weakness means unwholesome consciousness. And you can work on that cause to erase that unwholesome consciousness. So they are useful in your daily life. But you need to understand it fully so that you can really surgically cut them out in your daily activities, not only in deep meditation. May all of you be able to practice mindfulness insight meditation, and may you be able to erase, uproot all unwholesome consciousness and eventually attain Nibbana as soon as possible. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much.